What's going on YouTube? Top Tech here today. Today I'm going to be discussing to you guys and answering the question, is Google Nexus 10 worth it? Now I did answer a similar question about the iPad mini a few days ago, and now I thought I might take my time to answer the same question regarding the Google Nexus 10. Now from first looks and first point of view, I think that the Google Nexus hands down is definitely worth it. For a $399 starting price for the 16GB version in the US, that is, it's a great tablet, and for the amount of power that it provides, it's excellent. So running down through the specs, first of all, you've got a dual-core 1.7 GHz Samsung Exynos processor. However, it's clocked together with a quad-core graphics processor, as well as 2GB of RAM. So in terms of actual processing speed and shuffling along with all those that memory and all that processing power, I think that those specifications can definitely beat a lot of other quad-core tablets, such as the Nexus 7, for example, which is a quad-core Tegra 3 processor. However, this has a clock speed of only 1.2 GHz with 1GB of RAM. As well as the processor, we've also got the display. So we've got a resolution of 2560 by 1600, which in comparison, to put that into perspective, with the iPad 4 and the iPad 3 as well, 2048 by 1536. The pixels per inch, the pixel density in the Google Nexus 10 is also much higher. It's actually 300 pixels per inch as opposed to the 264 in the iPad 3 and 4. So that's already two things that it's beating the iPad with. As well as those two things, we've also got the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio in the iPad is 4:3, so it means HD movies in 1920 by 1080 aren't played as full screen. Rather, you got a black letterbox on both the bottom and top. Whereas with the Nexus 10, you can enjoy full HD. As you do with the iPad, without as much letterboxing because of the 16:9 aspect ratio. So that makes movie playback even better. As for the camera, you've got pretty similar specifications. However, you've got a front-facing camera, as you do with the iPad 4, with now you've got a FaceTime HD 720p recording, and the rear-facing camera is also 5 megapixels. However, unlike the iPad, you've got an LED flash right next to that with a 5 megapixels camera, so you can still take those pictures. Now, as for the price, the iPad has a starting price of $499 US in the UK, that's excluding taxes, whereas this 16GB model starts at $399. So in terms of price, you're already paying $100 less for higher specifications. Now, before, we used to be able to say that Android was not the preferred way to go because of the limited availability of apps for tablets. However, I have to say now the Google Play Store has just tied recently in the past couple of days with the App Store, the Apple App Store, and now has 700,000 applications, whether for other devices or tablets. But they have 700,000 applications in both app stores, so there is no comparison between that buying point because of the apps. So the iPad and the Google Nexus 10 are both really now hands down two quite high up in the competition, and I think that the Google Nexus 10 is definitely worth the $399. Unfortunately, however, there's no mention of a 4G or LTE model of the device. It may come later on with carriers such as AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon, but right now there's no word on the 4G models. However, for $399 US as well as $499 for the 32GB model, I think it's definitely hands down quite a value for money tablet, as we found with the Nexus 7. So unlike the iPad 3, which I've got right here, or the iPad 4, which is pretty much similar specification wise, it's definitely worth your money for $399. The only thing that the downside about it is that it doesn't have an expandable micro SD slot, unlike some other Android tablets, for example. But I guess you just have to make the decision how much memory you need, how much storage you need before you actually make the purchase. Obviously, nowadays with Retina display and optimized applications, you need more space. Anyway, that's it from Top Tech. If you guys are interested in more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you later.